Dear friends, welcome to EPG Patashala. Myself, Dr. Anish V. Pillai, Assistant Professor, School of Legal Studies, Cochin University of Science and Technology, Kerala. Today, I will be discussing about classification of criminal law and its various problems. The learning objectives of this module is to make the learners understand about the various classification of criminal law and its legal basis. Secondly, to give an idea about the question of legislative competency of center and state to enact criminal laws. Thirdly, to give an extensive idea about the effect of criminal laws on special criminal laws and vice versa. Lastly, to give a brief idea about the issue of reconciliation of conflict between general law and special law. One of the primary functions of a welfare state is to act as a guardian of common man. Hence, there are numerous rules for the protection of common man. There is a branch of law in every legal system which defines offences, prescribes punishments, prevents crime, and also punishes the offences. Such laws are collectively known as criminal laws. This criminal law has various features. One of the important features of this criminal law is to regulate human conduct. Secondly, it provides guidance to individuals how to behave in various situations. Thirdly, criminal laws are considered as a tool for social control because it prohibits various activities which are doing harm to the society. Then, the next important feature of every criminal law is that it is applicable to all persons irrespective of caste, creed, sex, age, location, etc. Now, this branch of criminal law is classified into various heads depends upon the applicability and the effect of such laws. The entire body of criminal law is composed of different laws, that is, the laws which defines criminal acts, then the laws which are made with specific purposes, then the laws which are intended to apply to a particular region, then there are laws which prescribes procedure to deal with prosecution in courts, and there are various laws which deals with collection of evidences, as well as there are laws which deals with the convicts. Now, starting from the various classification of criminal law, we can see that the first classification of criminal law is international criminal law and municipal or domestic criminal law. Now, starting with the international criminal law, it is a law adopted by international community to apply various criminal acts and to deal with such criminal acts at international level. This international criminal law is defined by Encyclopedia of Britannica as is a body of laws, norms and rules governing international crimes and their repercussions, as well as rules addressing conflicts and cooperation between national criminal law systems. Hence, international criminal law is a law which addresses criminal activities at international level and also deals with the cooperation between nations in criminal matters. It is a part of public international law that deals with the criminal responsibility of individuals for international crimes. Now, coming to municipal or domestic law, it is a law adopted by a state exclusively for the application within that state and to deal with the criminal activities happening within the particular state. Hence, domestic law of a state are those laws which regulates the relationship between the state and the subjects and the relations between the subjects of the state inter se. The most important feature of the state criminal laws it is applicable only within the boundary of the respective country. Hence, we can see that a law adopted by a particular country having application within the boundary of the country. But it doesn't mean a criminal law does not have an application outside the country. Say for example, under Indian Penal Code, it is having extraterritorial application. An Indian citizen, whoever goes and commits a crime, if he comes back to India, India can prosecute him. That means state criminal laws can also apply extraterritorially in certain circumstances. Under international law, such extraterritorial application of state criminal law is permitted on various principles like passive nationality principle, active nationality principle, territoriality principle, effect doctrine, etc. Now, coming to the next point, the municipal or domestic criminal laws are those criminal laws adopted by a country and applicable within the country. Hence, every municipal law is applicable within the country and in exceptional circumstance which is specifically provided by international law, it can be made applicable extraterritorially. However, there is a practical problem when we are applying Indian criminal law to outside country, that is the detection of the crime, collection of evidence, etc. are a practical problem. This international criminal law, under international criminal law, every state can cooperate with other state. Hence, the extraterritorial application of a state law can be made easy. Now, coming to the next classification of criminal law is that substantive criminal laws and procedural criminal laws. Starting with the substantive criminal law, we can see there is a need for defining what acts are crimes and what acts are not crimes. So, the substantive criminal law defines which type of activities can be considered as a crime and provides various ingredients to constitute such crimes. So, as a definition for substantive criminal law, we can say it refers to that part of the law that creates and defines fundamental rights and duties. So, substantive criminal laws are those laws which defines crimes and specifies punishments that can be found in the penal codes of the various states and the federal government. In India, the major part of the substantive criminal law can be found in Indian Penal Code 1860 as well as various other specific acts like Dowry Prohibition Act, Juvenile Justice Care Act, etc. All these laws defines what would amount to an offence under the particular law and what can be the punishment for that and what are the essential ingredients for such offences. Now, the next is procedural criminal law. Once the act is defined, which act is considered as a crime, etc. are defined clearly, the next question is how such crimes can be dealt and prosecuted by the court. Hence, the procedural law comes into picture. This procedural law provides what procedure should be followed while investigating, while prosecuting, while conducting trial, while collection of evidence, while convicting a person and to deal with various convicts during imprisonment. So, all these matters were dealt under procedural law. So, procedural law specifies the methods to be used in enforcing substantive law in generally. The procedural criminal law, thus that branch of criminal law which provides the machinery for the detection of crime, apprehension of suspected criminals, collection of evidence, determination of guilt or innocence of the suspected person and the imposition of suitable punishment on the guilty persons. The difference between substantive criminal law and procedural criminal law is explained by the court in the case of State versus Hutchinson in 1980, in which the court described the difference between substantive and procedural criminal law and stated that The substantive laws are that laws which declares what acts are crimes and describes the punishment thereof, whereas procedural law is that which provides or regulates the steps by which one who violates criminal statute is punished. Hence, we can see that the substantive criminal laws which defines the offences and provides its ingredients, and the procedural criminal law provides the various steps to be followed while collection of evidence, while dealing with the offenders, while prosecuting the offenders, and while punishing the offenders. Now, one of the major procedural law in India is Criminal Procedure Code, and Criminal Procedure Code of India provides various procedures to be followed while arresting a person and dealing with the arrested person, while prosecution, while trial, while conducting the trial, and while collection of the evidence, etc. Now, the next classification of criminal law is general criminal laws or central criminal laws and state criminal laws. This classification is based on its applicability and subject matter. Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines general law as a law unrestricted as to time and applicability throughout the entire territory, subject to the power of the legislature that enacted it and applying to all persons in the same class in the same situation. Hence, central laws or general criminal laws are those laws in India which was enacted by the central government and applicable to all parts of the India and applicable to all persons in the country. Best example is Indian Penal Code as well as Dowry Prohibition Act, Domestic Violence Act, etc. All these laws are applicable the all territory of India except Jammu and Kashmir and to all persons in the country. These general laws are that part of the law which concerns and applies to all persons without discrimination and which is not limited in its application to a particular locality but applies to all of the territory in the country. However, one should remember that most of the criminal laws enacted in India are not applicable to Jammu and Kashmir due to the special status enjoyed by state of Jammu and Kashmir. Likewise, there are certain exceptions given to certain people based on their caste from the general criminal laws. For example, the Muslim men can marry 4 wives at a time, though it is against the bigamy laws of India. It is a special case and had given exemption under the general law. That means general laws are generally applicable to each and everyone in the country. However, in few rare occasions, there are certain exceptions. Now, coming to the next category, that is state criminal laws, we can see these state criminal laws, as its name suggests, are applicable only within that particular state and enacted by the states. There are number of state laws enacted in India by different states. For example, Kerala Anti-Social Activities Prevention Act 2007. It is a state act enacted by Kerala state applicable only within the territory of Kerala state. Likewise, Bihar Maintenance of Public Order Act 1949. It is an act enacted by Bihar government applicable only within the territory of that particular state. Hence, we can see that central criminal laws are enacted by central government and are applicable to all parts of the country. At the same time, state criminal laws are those criminal laws which are applicable only within that particular territory of the state. The next classification of criminal law is special criminal laws and local criminal laws. Sometimes the general laws regarding a particular matter may be found insufficient to deal with a particular problem faced by the society. Then there is a necessity of special laws which specifically addresses those problems. For example, under Indian Penal Code, dowry related activities are prohibited. However, when the problems related to dowry become more and more increasing, then the government came up with a special law, that is Dowry Prohibition Act. According to section 41 of Indian Penal Code, special law is a law applicable to a particular subject. Best example, as I said, Dowry Prohibition Act, it is applicable only with respect to dowry, demand and taking of dowry. Likewise, Juvenile Justice Care and Protection of Children Act 2000. Under this act, it is dealing with the juvenile offenders, the children who are in need of care and child who are in conflict with the law. So, these type of special laws are applicable only to a particular subject. Now, next is local laws. In certain situations, a particular locality may face certain problems. Then it will necessitate the adoption of certain criminal laws applicable in that specified locality or territory. Such laws applicable to a particular locality are termed as local laws. According to section 42 of Indian Penal Code, a local law is a law applicable only to a particular part of India. For example, Madras Maintenance of Public Order Act 1947 is a local law which is applicable only in Tamil Nadu. Likewise, Kerala Anti-Social Activities Prevention Act. This act was enacted with a view to prevent antisocial activities happening in state of Kerala. Now, this various classification of criminal law sometimes create various problems. There are three major important concerns raised by this classification of criminal law. One of the important concern raised by this classification is legislative competency to enact criminal laws. As we all know, the legislative competency of enacting a law in India is discussed under the various lists provided in 7th schedule of Indian Constitution. A perusal of this 7th schedule and various lists reveals that the subject of criminal law is enumerated in list 3, that is concurrent list. Concurrent list is a list which provides legislative competency to both state as well as center to enact various laws on the basis of subject matter mentioned in the concurrent list. Hence, when center and state can enact laws on a particular subject matter, there is a chance of conflict between these laws. There are various occasions when state will enact a law, they may conflict with an existing central law. Likewise, when center will enact a law, it may conflict with an existing state law. Hence, when both center and state having capacity to enact criminal laws, it always creates a doubt regarding the chance of conflict between central law and state laws. This issue of conflict between a central law and state law has been discussed in different cases by Indian judiciary. In one of the very recent case, the Honorable Supreme Court of India discussed in great detail regarding this particular conflict. That is, in the case of Government of Andhra Pradesh versus JB Educational Society, the court summarized the constitutional position of this particular conflict. I quote, "There is no doubt that both Parliament and the state legislature are supreme in their respective assigned fields. It is the duty of the court to interpret the legislations made by the Parliament and state legislature in such a manner to avoid any conflict. Hence, the court point out that every authority, every state as well as center having the authority to enact law in their respective legislative field. However, when there a conflict arises, it is the duty of the interpreting authority, that is the court, to avoid that conflict. But there are certain situations in which such a conflict cannot be avoided. In that situation, these two enactments are irreconcilable. Then, by the force of the non-obstantive clause in clause 1 of Article 246, the parliamentary legislation would prevail, notwithstanding the exclusive power of the state legislature to make a law with respect to a matter enumerated in the state list. Hence, when there is a conflict between a central law and a state law, as far as possible, it has to be interpreted to avoid such conflict. However, if the conflict is unavoidable, then the parliamentary legislation, that is the central legislation, would prevail. There can be another situation, that is encroachment by state legislature while enacting a local criminal law in the legislative field of center. Such an issue is discussed in great detail in the case of State of Maharashtra versus Bharat Chandilal Shah and others, wherein the allegation was Maharashtra Control of Organized Crime Act 1999 is unconstitutional on the ground that the state legislature did not have the legislative competency to enact such laws. The various classification of criminal law sometimes raises a question about effect of special criminal law on general criminal law and vice versa. This is because when a special criminal law is enacted, there can be a provision already in a general criminal law. In such a situation, there may arise a conflict between that special criminal law and a general criminal law. Or sometimes when there is a special criminal law and subsequently there is an amendment in general criminal law and comes up with a new provision, then also there is a chance of conflict between general criminal law and special criminal law. So an offence is punishable under a general criminal law can be punishable under special criminal law or local law also. So there arises a problem of double jeopardy, whether a person can be punished for the same offence under two different laws. For this, the answer is very clear. When there is a penal enactment, that is both special act as well as general act or penal enactment, one cannot act as a bar to prosecute under another law. Now, this type of various classification is further raises a question between a conflict between general law and special law. This particular dispute or conflict between general law and special law is clearly discussed by the Honorable Supreme Court in the case of Maya Matthew versus State of Kerala and others, in which the Honorable Supreme Court has issued specific guidelines regarding the interpretation of general criminal laws and special criminal laws. So, by this guidelines, the conflict between general criminal laws and special criminal laws can be avoided to a great extent. Now, coming to the conclusion, we can summarize the various points which we discussed till now. From the above discussion, it can be seen that the entire body of criminal law in the world is classified into international criminal law and municipal criminal laws on the basis of its adoption and application. International criminal law is adopted by international community to apply at international level to deal with various activities having an international implications. At the same time, national or domestic criminal laws are those laws adopted by different countries to apply in that particular country. Further, the municipal criminal laws or national criminal laws can be classified into general criminal laws and state criminal laws. This particular classification is important in India because in India we are following a federal system of government in which center enacting criminal laws as well as state enacting criminal laws. So those laws enacted by central government can be considered as national criminal law and those laws enacted by the state can be considered as state criminal laws and both are applicable to that particular state. This classification is based on the authority which is enacting the law, that is the central government or state government. Further, the entire body of criminal law in India can be classified into substantive criminal law and procedural criminal law on the basis of the nature and object of these laws. That is, substantive criminal law having its object to define various activities as crimes and provides its punishment, whereas the procedural criminal law provides the various procedures to be followed by the police while investigating, by the court while conducting the trial, as well as while punishing the convicts. Thank you.